It is no secret that the Chicago Bulls and Zach Lavine are not on the same page, which means that he'll probably be traded at some point in the season. It's also no secret that Brandon Ingram and the New Orleans Pelicans are not on the same page, and he'll probably be traded at some point in the season. Me and Steve are going to talk about the possibilities of those guys being swapped for one another right after the intro.
Now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red.
What's the word, Chicago Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago, your one spot for all things Chicago Bulls related. Hit us up on all social media platforms. Any questions, comments, and or concern. Me and Steve-O in the building for King Hayes. What's the word, Steve-O?
Hey, what's the wizard? Hey, we done heard some crazy trade scenarios. I think this one is a little bit more reasonable. So we're gonna talk about it for sure.
Yeah, man, it's actually not bad. I think for the Bulls, it's actually better than it is for the Pelicans. The Pelicans would
Indeed.
if they traded for Zach Lavine. But let's talk about it, man. Brandon Ingram, 26 years old. Last season he averaged 20 points, almost 21 points,
Yeah.
5.7 assists, 5 rebounds in just 64 games. But we know what type of player he is, what he's really capable of. He's only 26, and he's in the last year of his contract. Now, right now, the New Orleans Pelicans, Steve-O, are not willing to give him a max contract extension. Therefore, they're thinking about trading him. And we already know what's going on with Zach Lavine. He did sign his contract extension a couple of seasons ago, got hurt last year while he was on the trade block, didn't make it back to play during all those rumors. And the Bulls are basically just deciding to go young. Does Brandon Ingram fit the mold of what AK and those guys are trying to do in Chicago?
He definitely fits the age. And when we talking about the timeline from what our last team looked like into the team that we currently got, which is extremely young. Um, I'm pretty sure coming at the start of the season, we're going to be one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in the league. So taking away somebody that's going to be 30, that's 29 right now, and adding somebody that's 26, he definitely fits the timeline. Now, when it comes to the overall timeline, see, that's where it's a bit hazy because I still, on top of a move like this that can be made, there's still moves around this organization that has to be made for us to be in the right mindset to become a contender, because at the end goal, that's what we want to be. We want to be a good enough team to be in contention, which is not going to be permanently in year one or year two. But with him entering his prime, he's 26 years old. Um, Especially, it'll be a different conference switch. Like ever since he's been in the league, he's been in the Western Conference. This time he will be in the Eastern Conference. I think everything stat wise will go up. Of course, he's going to be the main go to scorer, main dude that's going to have the green light on his team if this trade was to go down. So, yeah, if I'm AK and Mark, this is somebody. If I'm trying to get away from the contract of Zach Lavine and trying to take in a not even a bigger but a significant contract that we're eventually going to have to pay with Bi, that's somebody I'm willing to do, because even though some injury history has been there a little bit, it's not been major injuries, but it's still a potential. It's still more potential than ceiling that I would say for Zach Lavine. We pretty much at the ceiling of what Zach Lavine is going to be. There's no more potential to come out of it. Therefore, with Bi, we've seen what he's done with Zion. We also seen that we don't know if that those two are going to correspond with each other, especially with him coming into his own. We've seen him lose weight and this, that, and the third. But like you said, they're not willing to pay a max deal for Bi, and I'm pretty sure that got him feeling some type of way. So I'm sure he's probably soured from the front office. Who knows how he's feeling? But yeah, if Mark Everly and the GM and AK decide this is something a route they want to go to, this is probably be one of their best pivots as a GM.
I mean, so on top of him averaging those numbers, right? My man's did shoot about 50% from the
Yeah,
field.
50 from the bill,
Uh,
35 from 3.
about 35% from three, and he's a good mid-range scorer. He can kind of supplement what you lose in DeMar DeRozan in that situation as well. But my thing is, I don't know. Let me play devil's advocate here. Does this help or hinder Kobe White? Because Kobe White has proven to be a capable go-to scorer as well. He can create his own shot, score off the drive, shoot the three at a high clip. Also, and we still got Vucevic on the team for the time being. So this would be the de facto big three: Kobe White, Brandon Ingram, and Nikola Vucevic, and then of course Josh Giddey pushing that ball up the court would have options between those three guys, and then of course you got a couple of other guys, and then my thing is also I like this because it gives the Bulls an opportunity to really consider what to do as a front office in terms of extending this young man or not. Because if you extend him, great. He's going to want whack max money. We just went through this with Zach Lavine a couple of seasons ago. But if you just get him on a 1 year rental, maybe do a sign and trade after the season, free up some cap space, and continue to build that way. That's also something that's appealing to me as a Bulls fan because over the last, let's say, 5-10 years, what we've been seeing is the Chicago Bulls locking guys into contracts and those contracts really not being fulfilled. People demanding trades, people getting hurt from if you're talking about Alonzo Ball, even Zach Lavine has gotten hurt and also wanted to be traded. It's like, okay, maybe we should be thinking about not necessarily signing this guy to a max contract, but getting some assets because the Bulls failed to do so with Caruso and DeRozan this past offseason. Like they didn't get any first round picks for either one of those guys. Maybe they can parlay Brandon Ingram into like a first round pick, maybe, or a second rounder, plus some assets, some other players. What you think about that?
Uh, to first touch on the Kobe White situation, I mean, I think we've seen what Kobe White probably potentially is going to be. And to me, in my opinion, he's never going to necessarily be the number one scorer on any team. And that's fine. I feel like he can be a great number two, a great number three complementary scorer to the number one option. And I think with BI being there, he could correspond because he's not going to occupy the same space versus like Zach and a DeMar used to when he was playing here. He can play on the outside, he can attack the middle, and I don't think it's going to mess him up. Especially, I think with this move, period, it can help everybody around. I mean, of course, like we ain't gonna see what Montes is not gonna have free reign like we initially thought he would. Excuse me. But besides that, um, I am on the line of I do agree. Like you can treat this as a 1 year rental because, like you said, we don't have the best history of signing somebody to a loan steal deal and it's worth our while. Like I said, hinted before, he has had some injury history in the past. What 5 years he's been in the league? 6 years. So yeah, I think a smart thing with him to do is do a sign and trade, or not a sign and trade, just do a trade up swap it's possible for Zach Lavine and Brandon Ingram. See what he does this year. If he has himself a hell of a year, go ahead and re-sign him again. If you don't, use him as a trade bait because his value is still going to be up no matter what. Because I still think no matter what, he's going to average a little bit more than 20 points on this team. So yeah, I'm really with it with the 1 year rental until he proves it.
Do you trust AK in them to go ahead and make the right type of trade for a player like Brandon Ingram? Because it seems like teams, when the Bulls come calling, they get to licking their chops and they figure, hey, we can get more from them than they can get from us. Do you necessarily trust that the Bulls won't just trade Zach Lavine and a future pick to get Brandon Ingram, or will they be on a level with these guys and figure out how to get it done without handicapping themselves in the future?
I mean, we got to go based off history and based off what we've seen. He's not that type of GM to quote unquote finesse somebody or even just be very business minded. Usually he's the type of guy, he sees what he wants, he go get it, and he don't really care how much it is he has to lose or give up in order to get what he wants. So yeah, I would have to say I'm not that confident that he will do the right thing. Like I honestly think that he will. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a sign and trade between them two because that's what he's shown to done in the past.
Okay. All right, man. I don't know. I like Bi. I like him. I've liked him since Duke, and I feel
Yep.
like he would be a nice piece to kind of have on this team with this so-called youth movement. He would be the veteran in that bunch. He's even older than Kobe White.
Yeah.
So he would be the veteran, of course, with Vooch still being here. Vooch would be like the vet, but we don't expect him to be traded. And real quick before we dip, there were you saw what Vooch said about the rumors of being traded to the Golden State Warriors when he
I
was
did not.
talking to remember he did that conversation back in his home country. So he
No.
was saying that
Well, you
there
got
is
real personal. Yeah.
yeah, and he was saying that there is some validity to that Warriors trade. Now that's something that the Bulls might be looking at too in the future,
At
man.
the
So like
trade deadline.
yeah. So Vooch and Zach, they could listen, man. AK, bro, you got some pieces that people want. Figure out how to get the best return for those guys, bro. Like I don't want to see 2 and 3 future picks, first round picks being tossed around in these situations, bro. Because you looking at teams like the Orlando Magic and how much better they've gotten since they acquired those picks from the Chicago Bulls. You're looking at other teams, other young teams throughout the NBA starting to get better because I mean we already know how OKC is. They still sitting on 1,000 picks, but teams are starting to get better now that they're cashing in those chips that they've built that they've pushed into the table 2-3 seasons ago. So the Bulls can be looking to the future, and by 2028, 2029, we could be talking about the Bulls the same way we're talking about these young teams, Steve.
But yeah, definitely possible. Cause like I said, I think a addition like a Brandon Ingram would do for this team, he's just gonna take a lot of the offensive pressures off the players that's gonna have a ton of pressure on them who we're gonna start a team with. It's gonna be a tremendous amount of offensive pressure on Kobe White. Now, can we handle it? We've seen him try to handle it, and he did the best he can, and he had one of his best careers, but and the results wasn't team based wasn't good. And I don't really expect anything team based to be good because, like I said, we basically in a rebuild right now. So yeah, I think if you're smart enough, if you actually business minded enough, and you're thinking ahead, and you're actually trying to make some deals, like you can definitely make some moves midway through the season, especially for Vuce and Zach Lavine. But my question is, what we ain't really talked about this. What this trade, if this trade was to happen, because we're still going off of rumors and basically these teams just make sense to work with each other based on any
Mhm.
other team in the league. What would this trade do to affect Patrick Williams?
Oh, I haven't even thought about P. Will, man. I think that it would be just the same as it was when DeRozan was here. He would have to take that back seat. Um, it's just the reality of it. He's as much as I love the kid, man, he's just not aggressive enough. He doesn't have a go getter mentality. He definitely wouldn't be a starter with a team with Brandon Ingram on it. He would have to lead that second unit. Him and the young guys, maybe even Buzelis, will be the go to guys in that second unit, and that might even be the case whether they trade for Bi or not. Brandon Ingram is going to have to. Not, I'm sorry. Williams is going to have to show that he's capable of being aggressive. Man, we call him passive P for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, you
Um,
don't you don't sit there and get a nickname like that for no reason. And like we said, he has all the talent in the world. He just got to bring it out. But also, I also feel like this trade will also be smart as well because we still really don't know the real fine details or how bad or what's the return date of this foot injury that he has because it's not a normal foot injury. So with that being said, when there's an unknown, I feel like it wouldn't be. It's still a risk at the end of the day. Any trade is a risk, but I feel like going at the Bi, seeing the situation he's in, seeing the current situation that we're in, this will be a very calculated move, in my opinion. Just be due to if you want. If not only do you want to see your young players develop and improve in their own type of way, you also don't want to place things on their lap and on their shoulders that they can't bear. And I feel like Bi is the perfect guy. He's been the bearer of a Lakers team, and he's been the shoulders of another franchise in New Orleans. So it's somewhat familiar to him. And I don't think, even though us being such a big household name in the Chicago Bulls, with him being a former Laker, the lights won't be too bright for him. And it would be a step down because he in the Eastern Conference division.
I mean, I give you all that. My thing is, if the Bulls don't pull the trigger on a trade like this, I'm actually excited to see what Zach Lavine is going to look like coming
Yeah,
back from his injury. I feel like Zach Lavine could even play himself back onto the team if you want to
yeah,
be 100. If he goes out there and shows that he can be the leader that the Bulls thought he could be when they traded for him in that Jimmy Butler package, he could literally, him and Vucevic, they control their own destinies, and they also control the destiny of this team. Because let's not be daft about it. Those guys are, capable veterans in the NBA, capable scorers, double machine for Vooch, and Zach has shown that he could be a top 10 scorer in this league as well. So, like, my thing is, even if they don't trade for him, the Bulls have a chance to surprise some people, man, and be one of those teams that starts off better than we anticipated, especially with a couple of the additions that they've already made. So, man, this team is just a big, gigantic question mark
that's the
going into
mark.
the season. Because you just
Yeah,
don't know. They can start off 10-2, or they can start off 2-10. Who knows? So it's gonna be one. I'm if nothing else, I'm very excited to see what this team looks like in either direction, because they're going to be fun bad, as I've been saying this season, this off
definitely
season.
fun bad. And one last question before we get up out of here: does Brandon Ingram fit a playing style of Billy Donovan?
I don't even know what Billy Donovan playing style is. Like, what are we talking about here, Billy
That's why
Donovan?
that's why the friend asked me that shit. Because I was just like, let me throw this out here just to
Because
see what he
listen,
said.
man, the last 3 years we've been saying, what is the identity of this team? Like, we just haven't really gotten one. That's why they've been middle of the pack. That's why they've been, at or above, slightly above or slightly below 500 pretty much his entire tenure here as a Bulls coach. Is because they don't really have a real direction, a real identity. The only time I really saw him have an identity, even with his stint in Oklahoma City, was at Florida. That was it.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a lot of effort basketball today. I mean, this year. So it is what it is. I just wanted to throw it out there because, like I was about to say the same thing. I don't really know what his style is, and I don't really care to know. But it is what it is. It is what it is. In order for me to get through this season and for it to be entertaining, shit, fuck it, go get them. Why not? Go and get them.
Okay. All right, man. We appreciate y'all rocking with us today on Chicago Bulls Central in for Big Hayes out taking care of business. Y'all already know y'all can leave a voice and or text message to 773-270-2799 or shoot us an email at bullcentralpod@gmail.com. You can also go to all the social media platforms at Bull Central Pod. Hey, man, for Hayes and Chi-Town Sports Central, Chicago Bulls Central, we going to see y'all next time, man.
Peace.
Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.
I see bread.